Hi, today we're installing gear drive on this engine, and I thought there's an opportunity to share some information in case when you order this set, typically they don't come with very good instructions or there's no instructions at all. So there's some things I wanted to talk about. First off, if you're considering this, something you need to know between these two timing sets, timing chain, if you're afraid they're too weak or you've heard horror stories about why to go to gear drive and you don't know. First off, this is a double roller set. This is an aftermarket upgrade to original equipment chain, unlike your small block or your big block Chevys. This set here is phenomenal. They are a great gear set. Most everybody installs this style, whatever brand you choose. A double roller timing chain is exceptional. They're quiet, they're reliable. However, they will stretch in time, just like any timing chain. They will not stretch near as fast as an original equipment. These are very durable and very well produced. You can get these really cheap. You can get a set. I think you can get a timing chain set, double roller for $30, $40 right now for a small block or a big block Chevrolet. They have been produced and mass produced for so long that you can pick them up really cheap. A gear drive set, however, they're going to run you, I think you can find as cheap as $100 maybe, and they go up pretty high. You get one of these name brand race sets, they're going to be pretty expensive at that point. But you can get a reliable, a good quality, either set at a reasonable price. If you're watching your budget completely, don't be afraid to go with the double roller timing chain. They work great and they have for years. Now, if you've decided to choose a gear drive set, there's a couple things that we need to talk about. These have very similar parts and then completely different parts. So this set here has a lower crank gear and an upper cam gear. They go on and align exactly the same way. You got these alignment dots on here. You turn your set, get them lined up, and then the difference is where your chain makes the connection is you're going to have a set of gears, set of idler gears. These idler gears will go in this configuration. You want the larger gear on the passenger side of the engine, and then other things that are different that I want to talk about besides the idler set is the cam gear on the backside has a thrust bushing or bearing that goes between the block and the gear. That's very important. That helps keep your camshaft from walking too far inward, and it keeps any wear, irregular, strange wear from happening because it's got something to rub against. This one here is made out of copper, and it goes on the backside. I usually use some assembly lube before I put these together. One, it will keep any startup wear from happening. The dry start, you won't have any of that issue because it's already lubed. Two, it helps hold it in place when you're assembling it, which is worth that by itself. So you want that thrust bearing on the backside. Install this gear. This has a locking plate that goes behind the bolts. It does, one of the major things that it does is when you get these together, installed and torqued, then you can take these tabs, there's little tabs here, and you can bend those over these bolt heads, and that will keep the bolts from backing out. The other thing is this gear has an alignment pin, and it comes with a variety of shims that go in there, offset bushings, that will give you the opportunity to set your gear for degreeing it. So this one here, we're just going to use the standard bushing. So after you get these installed and torqued and put into place, make sure you tap this gear all the way back against that thrust bushing. That will give you your play or your rolling position for your upper gear. Then the other part of the upper gear assembly is this cam button. This cam button has bearings in here. And that will allow this end button to spin or not rotate while the camshaft is rotating. This will give you the thrust you need on this camshaft. It needs to just have a little bit of room where it floats in there lightly. There's not a lot of pressure. If there's too much pressure on that inner bushing, it will go dry and wear out. And then you don't want too much pressure on these bearings either, because they too will wear out just from friction. So this is going to be too long. They always are, and I think it's intended that way. The cup side will go in this hole all the way against the surface of the camshaft. That will stick out too far, and we'll address that. So with this in place, the cover you're going to use without a gasket will go on that. Cam button in, up tight, camshaft all the way against the block. Then you want to insert your cover. Your cover will stick out too far. So we want to take a measurement of this, and we'll come in here. I'm just going to take a piece of electrical tape and wrap around this area where the bearing is exposed. I do not want to get any grindings or any material in that. That will prematurely wear out that little bearing. That's how I'm going to protect it. I'm going to take this to the grinder, remove 3/32. When I come back, I'm going to reinsert that in the hole and check the cover clearance again. I do not want any pressure on. I want to be able to put this up here in place, and I can put a little Play-Doh or something on here and put this together, maybe even install 2 bolts, squish this into place, and have little to no clearance between this button and this. You want about 10 thousandths of clearance for this button. And that gasket will give you the clearance that you need for this. That's one major thing. The other one is this set of gears, idler gears. This post here is the larger, longer post. You'll notice when you have these out. This post here sticks up way more than that one there. And with this installed, the large idler on the passenger side. Come on, there you go, you can do it, there you go. Insert this in just a little over halfway without your button in there. Reinsert your cover and allow your cover to go completely back, and take a feeler gauge and shove in here, and like right now I can actually stick that in there, which tells me it's too tight. And with the gasket, it might be okay with the gasket, but this shim is almost the thickness of the gasket, so if it's too tight there, that way we know it's too tight. So we're going to, so we will wind up trimming the cam button, and we'll wind up trimming this idler stud. Now we went ahead and removed 20 thousandths of an inch off that axle. That should be perfect. And like I say, double check, triple check, just to make sure it's good. This is your one opportunity to do this outside of the engine bay, which is way easier to do. So this is the time to do it. I hope this helps you. Good luck. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch up with you next time.